If you're running a tuned CREC Audi 3.0T supercharged engine and you think your OEM fueling is fine, then there's a really good chance that your fuel lines are quietly holding back power. And on today's video, we're going to fix that with the help of Jackal Motorsports. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Cameron, and on today's video, we are going to be installing the Jackal Motorsports MPI fuel line upgrade kit for your CREC 3.0T supercharged Audi engine. This is the 3.0T that's found in the C7.5 or the facelift A6, A7 vehicles in the North American market, as well as the 4MQ7s. It's also found in the B8.5, S4, and S5 vehicles outside of the North American market. So something cool for you guys overseas that might be watching. Now, this mod doesn't add power by itself, but if you're already tuned or you're planning on running ethanol, you're going to be unleashing power that you've already paid for, but you can't take advantage of due to the restrictions of the OEM fuel lines in the vehicle. Stick with me in this video and I'll show you how the stock setup becomes a problem, how the Jackal upgrade fixes it, and how to install it step by step. So why is the OEM fuel system robbing you of power on a CREC engine when you decide to increase performance? Well, it actually makes a lot of sense when you think about the line of the fueling system and how it works. It all starts in the gas tank with the low pressure fuel pump. That's sending fuel all the way to the engine bay to your high pressure fuel pump. From there, just like previous revisions of the non-MPI 3.0T supercharged engines, there's a metal fuel rail that goes underneath the supercharger into the valley of the engine that's supplying the direct injection injectors. That's the normal injectors that are going into your combustion chamber. But on the CREC engines, that fuel rail has two more parts that come up behind the supercharger on each side of the engine that have a rubber hose that connects to the actual MPI system supplying the secondary injection. So the MPI is the last stage of the line in regards to your OEM fueling system. The bottleneck that we're dealing with here is that when you start increasing performance above stage 2 levels or even stage 1 ethanol files, so pretty much any ethanol tuning, you're creating an issue where you're creating such a demand on the low pressure fuel pump that it cannot adequately supply the system and you get fuel cuts. So how does the Jackal fuel line upgrade fix that? Basically, what we're going to be doing is going into the fuel line system before the high pressure fuel pump. And so on the low pressure side, we're going to be splicing in this kit and it's going to be directly supplying fuel to the MPI system. So what we're doing is we're going to be creating a much more constant and stable fuel supply for the MPI system, which is not only going to lead to better tuning and stable tuning for your MPI system or your CREC engine overall, it's also going to reduce the stress on your high pressure fuel pump and the low pressure fuel pump, creating longevity for both of them. This install should take you about an hour, but really important, you want to wait till your engine's cold. You're going to be cutting into fuel lines, you're going to be spilling fuel, and it's going to be hitting parts of the engine. You don't want any of that to be hot because that is a very big hazard in terms of burning your car to the ground. So please make sure your car is adequately cooled off before you start this. Let's look at the parts of the kit, and then we're going to jump into the DIY process. Let's go over what's in the kit from Jackal. You've got your actual fuel line. This is what we're installing on the car, and it comes with crimp connectors on here, nice and tight. And it's going to come with 6 other fuel hose clamps here. These will be able to apply equal pressure to make sure you don't have any leaks. And then this is going to be used to stabilize the fuel line somewhere in the vehicle as well. It's a really simple kit, but everything's put together really well, and it's already measured out for you. You should not have to modify anything. Here we are in the engine bay. This is the CREC engine. You can see the multi-port injection rails here on each side. This one's kind of buried under some stuff there. And then the easiest way to tell the difference between a pre-CREC and a CREC engine is the supercharger pulley. They are held on by 4 bolts versus being pressed on with the original one. So we've already removed the intake. We removed some of the sound deadening heat pad things that go back there. Those are out of the way. But I'm going to point out where we're going to be working and what you're going to have to be removing and modifying. So first thing, where the multi-port injection fuel line, this little U line, it comes in and connects here in the engine. There's one on each side, one there, then the other one's right here. We're going to be removing those, and then we're going to be making a splice into the fuel line here. Make sure you measure 73 times and cut once. You do not want to screw this up. Make sure the engine is cold because you do not want to be working on a hot engine. Your headers are just below your valve covers, and you don't want any fuel to spill down there and start a fire. And then lastly, it's a good idea to actually make sure that your battery is unplugged, because if you open your door just forgetting what you're doing and you have your fuel lines open, you're going to spray fuel everywhere, and basically your fuel pump is activated via the door opening. So disconnect your battery just to protect that. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is depressurize the fuel line. The first thing we need to do is depressurize the fuel system, and you can do that either by making a small incision where you're planning on cutting, but the other way is you can just go ahead and start to remove one of the fuel lines you're removing anyways. So this has one of those special pain in the butt squeeze clamp things that Audi has. And so what I'm going to do is just back that off and then start to wiggle this loose a little bit and see how it works. Hopefully that'll work. Make sure you have some rags down and don't let it get in your eyes. But to make a little bit more working room here, we're going to disconnect the map sensor and move it out of the way. There it goes. We're just going to tuck this somewhere safe and out of the way back here. That way we don't damage that line. All right, so we got that one off, so now we just need to pry this off. Now, depending on how many miles you have, this thing might be on there pretty good. There we go. It's already depressurizing there. Seems like one of these tools will come in handy. These are easily found at Harbor Freight, and it's just a spreader tool. And there we go. So we got that one off. I'll try and reposition the camera to show you the bottom one. That one's going to be kind of tricky to get a pair of pliers too, but we're almost there. Here's a better angle of the other end here. And once again, it's a little tricky to get a pair of pliers in here. And it's connected to a metal line. You don't want to be forceful and work this around a lot, because if that metal line snaps, you're going to have a bad day. I also sprayed a little bit of silicone lubricant onto the hose here, so it'll hopefully help me back this up. And actually, I can just go down and let it fall into the metal line, and now it's off of there completely. And now we need to work this off. Now I can't get those pliers in there, so here I just have to pull, and we're going to take our time with that and try and get that off. It seems like the best way to do this is to get kind of a reverse hook to get down there and hook underneath the edge of the actual rubber. And if you can, try and work your way around it to break the seal off the metal. And once you do that, get that hook in there and you pull with the hook as well as the hose here, and it'll eventually start to work itself off. And then once it gets loose, rotate the hose and it'll come off. We are on the driver's side now, and the only difference with this is this gang of vacuum lines and whatnot, and they just pop off of the MPI rail. You can get that, move it up. We're not going to disconnect the map sensor at all, but you can see, once you move that up there, you can see there in the camera, there's your fuel line, and from here on out, it's the exact same process as it was on the driver's side, so we're going to go ahead and remove that. You don't need to watch me do it twice, and then we'll jump back in when it's time to cut the other fuel line. Okay, so we got both of the elbow fuel lines off of the passenger and driver side. We've cleaned up any fuel that's spilled into the engine bay as best we can, so now it's time to make the cut on the main fuel line. But first, I do want to point out, if we go back over here, that elbow where it connects to the metal fuel line on each side, it's definitely 10 times easier to let that spring clamp just fall around the metal fuel line, pull it off, and then get a pick or something to help remove it. Just don't forget to get it off that metal fuel line. Don't let it sit there. And then while your fuel lines are open like this, like the MPI rail and that metal one, make sure you're not doing anything that's going to send dirt and debris to get into those. Before we make the cut on the main fuel line, we're going to go ahead and install the fuel line to the areas we just pulled the OEM little elbow lines off. So I've gone ahead and pre-staged the fuel clamps onto the hoses so that they're easy to get to, plus you won't be able to put them on otherwise. So I got those in there and I put them the best way I could so that they're easily accessed by a long screwdriver once they're in. So I'm going to go ahead and get these attached, and then we'll see where we need to make our cut over there on the main fuel line. Hey guys, real quick point of clarification here. There was a small miscommunication between myself and Jackal when we were discussing this install. I reused the OEM spring clamps as you heard me talking about there. You do not want to do that. Use the supplied fuel clamps that Jackal puts in the kit, and that's because there's increased fuel pressure as you start to increase performance on these cars. So you don't want to run the risk of popping a hose off with that increased fuel pressure or creating a small leak. We're going to be swapping these out on the car that we installed this kit on, so he doesn't have to worry about that. The best way to do this is to take those clamps they provide, put them on the fuel line kit where they need to be and just tighten them up just enough so that they don't slide up and down the hose, but you can still push the hose down over the fuel rail barbs, and then have them positioned in a way so you can get a long screwdriver to them to tighten them up once they're all in place. So make sure you do that, and we're going to jump back into the DIY. We just got the Jackal fuel line mounted to each side of the MPI rail and the fuel rail underneath the supercharger. Some important things here. It's a little bit different from the time lapse you might have saw, because we noticed afterwards and got told by some people that have done it before that it's much better to have that line go underneath your valve cover line that goes to your PCV underneath. So if you go over the top, it'll be in the way of your oil filter housing. So go underneath there, run it around the back like you see here. It's coming through here, and then we ran it underneath the evap vacuum line here, which is this one here. And that keeps it nice and out of the way and free and clear from getting snagged on anything. I want to bring something to your attention when you route this line. Obviously, we went underneath this. Originally, we had this line up above this vacuum line, evap line, whatever this is, and it was resting on top of these band clamps, and you don't want a fuel hose resting on metal and vibrating on it. So if you accidentally do that, there's this connection here, there's a button on the bottom and a button on top. You squeeze them and it just comes apart, and you can reroute it that way. So just something to point out for you guys. And then right now it's just resting back here. If you don't want it to move around, you can absolutely zip tie it off to certain things. Just make sure you zip tie it to things that aren't going to move around or jerk around with the engine and put stress on the fuel line. So it's time to cut the main fuel line. This had a little clip here that held the evap line to the fuel line. It kept them, just together. Took that off. And right in the middle where it sat, you can see I put a white line there. That's where we're going to cut it. That's going to attach to this part of the connector. And then once we have that cut, we'll figure out what to do with the rest of the fuel line. A lot of people just make one cut and then they just curl this back and connect it somehow. It might be a smarter idea to make a second cut and cleaner, just to have this part of the line attached to it. But we're going to make that first cut, get it attached, and see how it looks. When it comes to cutting fuel line, you want it to be as straight as possible. I highly suggest you get a hose cutter, something like this, that has a sharp blade that allows you to make a really nice straight cut. So I'm going to get on there. I got my paint marker line, and we're just going to snip it right here. We made the cut, so we're going to get the fuel line hose clamp provided by Jackal on there. We'll run it under the evap line, and then we're going to get this on there. Now that is a big barb. Let's work it on all the way. Get it as far forward as you can, and then we'll slide this on here and tighten it down. If it's kind of difficult to wiggle this on there, a little bit of a spray lubricant will help you move it all the way over. It is going to be tight. Since the intake is going to go across here, I set it to where the screw and the nut that we're tightening here is under the bottom of the hose. This is a bigger hose than the pieces that you're putting on there, or the piece that attaches there, and it's a big barb, so it is a really tight fit. So now we've come to the point where we need to decide whether we're just going to make this work by rolling this around and rotating it over and making it fit, but then it probably won't fit on the normal OEM spot here on the valve cover, and we're going to try and retain that OEM ability to mount there. So when it's sitting here, we kind of measured it out, and if we cut right here, a second cut, it should fall into line with that barb perfectly and have no stress on the system and sit almost as if it's OEM. I was going to try and cut straight through the sheathing and everything. That feels pretty thick, so I think I'm going to try and take an X-Acto knife and just cut that sheathing a little bit and clear it out before we make the cut on the line. So we did a couple test cuts on the section we know is coming off, just to see how our different cutters would go through the braided line or the sheathing. And it actually cut the hose just fine, but then this frays. So we're going to see if we can't just try and trim this stuff off somehow so that we can just cut through rubber hose only. So I'm going to work on that. This might take a couple minutes, but I think that'll be just easier and safer to get a good cut. Okay, so we got that sheathing off with a X-Acto knife, and we remarked the line here. This should work out pretty well here, so we're going to go ahead and get that cut done. Once again, try and get this cut as straight as you can. That looks good. We're going to get a clamp and put it on there. All right, we got the hose clamp set on the hose, so we'll just push this on. Wiggle it all the way on there. It helps if you twist and push all at the same time to get it all the way on there. All right. Probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to flip this band to the other side so it doesn't interfere with this band, but this is still working. All right, that's in there nice and secure. We'll get this rotated through. And it is set into place. Okay, so we have it completely installed. We made those 2 cuts. We got everything connected and tightened down. So now the next step before you do anything else is start the car. But if you have anything in your throttle body, make sure you take that out. But we're gonna start the car. Actually, we're not even gonna start it first. What we're gonna do is we're just going to put the car into accessory power, which is gonna prime the fuel pump. And as we do that, we're gonna check for leaks. If there's no leaks, we'll start the car and let it idle. And then we're gonna check for more leaks. And then as you drive, you're gonna smell a little bit of gas probably for like the first day, because obviously you've been working, you've been spilling. It would be a really good idea to just hose down the engine bay really gently to clean up any of the gas that's in there. That way, over the next couple of days as you're driving, if you smell gas, you know that there's something wrong and you need to double check everything. So we're gonna go ahead and do that and inspect everything and make sure it's all good to go. All right, guys, that wraps up the DIY video, but to close things out, does this modification, simply by installing it, add a ton of power to your engine? No, but what it does do is it unleashes the power you've already paid for that's been sitting there untapped by removing that restriction in the OEM fuel line system. So for 70 bucks and an hour of your time at home, you can go ahead and take full advantage of that tune that you've already got from Jackal Motorsports, especially for those of you running ethanol blends. Big shout out to Jackal Motorsports for continuing to drive the CREC platform forward and making it relevant in the 3.0T community. If you guys like this video, you found it helpful, or you just enjoyed what you see in general, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next install.